And I think that's what I learned. It's like all of this that I can tell you some stories. All of this, I'm just supposed to be here, and I'm really thankful for it. If anything.
Hey, peeps, you have entered the Unstuck Yourself with Crystal Simmons podcast, where I have intentional conversations that raises your awareness, which releases your innate abilities and leads you to purposeful action. You know there's more to life and you're worthy of it, and yet you feel stuck. This is your sign. Unstuck Yourself with me, Crystal Simmons, certified coach, corporate facilitator, and dope human being. I'll be here every week. Will you?
Welcome back, peeps. Go ahead and pull up a chair and let's catch up before we dive into today's dope-ass interview episode with the very special human I met last year. Like I said before that, I wanted to give y'all your flowers for appreciating our last episode titled, Instead of Avoiding, Advance. Because it seems I scratched an itch y'all had, because we all have that same itch of avoiding uncomfortable conversations, situations, people. And thank you. Thank you for saying thank you for creating these episodes. It really does make my soul smile with delight, because it just confirms that we are connected. And it's very comforting to know that I'm not alone. You're not alone. We got each other. It's words can't express it. So hopefully y'all are feeling the feels, because I feel them. And that time that you take to tell me, I don't take it lightly. I never get tired of it. So thank you. And here's a very lengthy exchange between a listener and myself. Pertaining to the episode, we spoke via LinkedIn. I posted episode 63, Instead of Avoiding, Advance. And Jacqueline Johnson, hope I said your name correctly. Hello. This is what she put. Can't wait to check this out. It's easy to avoid and sweep things under the rug. And I need this reminder on why this never works. I replied, hey, mad wise. Jacqueline, we all, mad L's, do it, and sometimes we aren't even aware of it. However, there is a relationship or career that holds a high value to you, then it's going to require you to show up for you, whether you're scared, fearful, nervous, and all of you deserves that, deserves what awaits on the other side of that. So I encourage her to press play Wednesday, March the 8th, 2023. Purple heart. And then Jacqueline responds, Crystal, got you locked and loaded for tomorrow. You too. Thank you for that. Ended up checking out episode 55 while I waited, and it spoke to my soul. Episode 55 was, hang on, let me make sure I get that right. It is Feeling Off. Play this. I love that episode because during the winter, I was feeling super off for so long, and I didn't know why. And that was the words that came to me and spoke to me to share with y'all for that episode. So I'm really happy that she mentioned that. So back to her message. I checked out episode 55 while I waited, and it spoke to my soul, thinking it's just going to be a quick day, and months later, you're still feeling off. It's been a pain feeling those feels, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And then she writes, the more you heal, the more you feel, quoting crystalism that I just made up. She said, very well said. Black hand clapping emoji. Hey, 2 of them. Thank you for this gem and celebration of progression. Yay! And again, I respond, hey, with mad ease. Thank you for sharing this message so much. It really does remind me people are listening, and the messages given to me are meant to be shared. While I'm here, all my episodes are special, and episode 18, 60, and 62, I swear there's so many others, but these forever changed my brain. And then I put pinky swear, it'll shift some shit around for you. Put ish. I don't know if LinkedIn blocks out My colorful words. And then I'm not going to read all of this, but Jacqueline ends by saying, "We listening out here. Trust and believe, exclamation point. Let me add those to the list and I'll circle back afterwards. I'm excited and this is much needed during the metamorphosis phase. I appreciate and thank you for sharing your messages. Hella dope." And then black hand emoji making the heart. Y'all see me making it? You see me making it. So those exchanges give me life in no other way. And I'm so happy to have these moments, to share these moments with you. If any of the episodes resonates with you, feel free to message me, comment when you see me post about it, and I might share it on the podcast. So thank y'all so much for being here in Crystaltown and allowing me to give y'all a quick update. Before we get into today's episode, I want to introduce you to this dope ass woman. This will be Daphnee Duret and myself episode of just speaking about how we met, her exquisite range of knowledge. Let me just share this. So Daphnee was born in Haiti and raised in Florida. While attending Howard University, she fell in love with hospitality and service. She has done well to pair herself with some of the brightest and talented members of the industry and took advantage of the rare opportunity to be reimbursed if she passed the exams to begin her career as a sommelier, working in some of the hottest restaurants in Miami, New Orleans, and now in Richmond with the Lindsey Food Group and Rich Wines. Daphnee hopes to continue developing and curating dope and different wine experiences for the culture. We met at my favorite restaurant, ML Steak in Richmond, Virginia. I love that place. And we'll get into the details of how we came to be. Y'all know I love food, so why wouldn't I speak to someone who is so well versed and knowledgeable of various cuisines and wines? Now, I'm not a wine drinker, but I really appreciate learning and experiencing so many different perspectives from others. So join us as we dive in. Enjoy flying free from one perspective to another. Y'all, please welcome Daphnee to the show. Hello, peace. Welcome back to the Unstuck Yourself with Crystal Simmons podcast. And you all know the purpose of this podcast is to highlight my own personal stuck moments and stories, but also to create a space and a platform for others like our lovely guest today to do as well. So today our guest is Daphnee. And how do I pronounce your last name?
Duret.
Duret.
Yes.
So Daphnee Duret. And before we dive into all the dopeness that you are and how we met and how our connection is continuously growing, please tell the listeners who little Daphnee was that created the current Daphnee in front of me today.
Wow, Crystal, you're starting off really, really strong. I love that. So the little Daphnee that created the Daphnee today, I would say the little Daphnee was extremely in a new world. Coming from Haiti, you know, and having immigrant parents and having a woman that's Haitian as your mother, you're taught certain things in life. And, you know, one of the things I was taught is just to be quite submissive but yet exude this kind of strength that no one else has, which is a crazy balance. You know, my mom was so submissive when it comes down to the things that she would do for my dad, the things that she would anticipate doing for him, and making sure that everything was just so perfect for my dad. And so I kind of learned that, but on the same token, when my dad did his stuff, you know, she held it down and she exuded the strength. And she was a woman that spoke, you know, like 7 different languages, but barely any English, but now is a nurse and been a nurse for like 25 years. Like she's held down our family, you know? So it's just sort of like, it's amazing how submissive a woman, you can be taught to be so submissive, but you also have to know how to be strong, you know? And it's like finding that balance. As a little girl, I did not know anything about it. You know, I remember, growing up and just seeing my dad as like this huge, massive king, you know, that everyone just obeyed. And, you know, he just came and left when he felt like it. And my mom was just there, like, whatever it is that you want. And as I grew older, I was like, man, like, you're a human being. And yes, I am to honor you, but like, you F up hither and thither. And there were, you know, times when I said to my mom, like, you should divorce this man. That was little Daphnee. You should divorce this man. You know, how dare he do such and such? And she would look at me square in my eyes and be like, Daphnee, that is my husband. You know, I've already committed myself to this man. Whatever good, whatever bad, like, I'm his and he's mine. And I'm like, you're crazy. Because I would leave him right where he stood for the things that he's done, you know? And that was little Daphnee. But now, you know, experiencing all those things, seeing those examples of love, growing up with two brothers, you know, all those influences in my life, being the way that I am, the way that I look, the way that I, you know, speak, everything about me, you know, little Daphnee was very, very insecure about that. She didn't see the beauty in that because there was no beauty like shown in that. But it's like, you know, when you get those knocks and those punches and those dark moments, they make you who you are today. And I'm very, very thankful for like every little bit of pain and disappointment and everything that America has, you know, has definitely given me, because I think my life would have been very different still living in Haiti. But I don't think little Daphnee understood that, but big Daphnee does, because I've experienced so much in this life. And I understand that, you know, my mother was right about a lot of things. She was right about a lot of things, but I got to freak them my own way and I got to make them work for me. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to be me. You know, I understand my flaws. I think most importantly, I understand where they came from, you know, how they were created, you know, because I think certain things were definitely implanted in me that carried through me for so many years. And nowadays at 42, I find them quite unnecessary, you know, quite unnecessary. You know, I remember growing up, my mom used to say things to me like, because my mom is very beautiful, like fair skin beauty, like the pictures of her and even the way she looks now. And I remember she used to say things to me like, you would be prettier if, you know, and things like that. So those things kind of stick with you, and you look for love in places that you don't got no business looking for it in. When all the while you look at yourself one day and you're just like, all this I was looking for is like right here in me. And it's like, once I realized that, I became even much more of a recluse and even much more private, which is why like people find me so weird that I have no social media, you know, Facebook, all this stuff is just like such a distraction, in my opinion, you know, to who people really are. And I used to see it in my friends. I knew the life that they were living and then their social media life. And I was like, that don't match up. Boo, that's not what we doing. That's not what we talking about. Like, yeah, show them the fine bottle of wine that we had, but also let them know that you were like dead ass broke the other day. So it's just like, let's be real about it. And I didn't find that on social media. So I backed up out of that thing like within a day or two. I was like, done.
A day or two. When was the last time you had any type of social media?
Oh goodness. It had to be, so I'm 42. It had to be like maybe my late 20s, early 30s. And I think I only had it for the amount of time that I had it because of my family in Haiti. You know, it just made them so happy to be able to just connect and see me. And, you know, so that was addictive. But then I thought about it and I said, we can just all get iPhones. And then you can see me then, and nobody else needs to know what I'm doing and things like, you know, it's just these little ins and outs, you know, you learn as you're going through. That's like, is it necessary for me to have this, you know, or is it not? And I'm finding a lot of things are just not really necessary for me. So
my body is, I just got chills because that has been something that I keep going back and forth with as well. Is I used to be very active on social media, promoting my business and this is what you got to do. And then people say you got to post every day. I'm like, every day?
Every single
every
day?
day. Come on. I think I did that maybe 4 days, 5 days. And I was like, I can't do this shit. Like, it was just, why? What are we doing? But I want to backtrack because you dropped like 85,000 gems. Stop. And I don't even know where to start. Like, even you mentioned things that you were taught growing up, and now that you realize, like, I get to pave my own way, per se. Like, what was the biggest thing that you feel like you were taught and you're like, nah, I'm not doing that?
You know, I think the biggest thing that I was taught, especially from immigrant parents, was that you have to fit in. Whatever America says you're supposed to do, just do it well. You know, don't ask any questions. Hold your head down, Daph. You know, like, you're a guest in this country. But then it's like, I was like, nah, homie, like, I'm a guest in this country, yes, but I'm paying my taxes. Yes. I'm a, you know, mostly law-abiding citizen. Like, I do my,
not mostly.
I
love it.
I've done things.
We all have.
We all have. You know, yes. So it's like, why do I have to hold my head down? You know, and then, you know, it also played such a huge role when I came to America based on racism, you know, because in Haiti, I personally feel that it's a class division. You know, either you're filthy rich or you're dirt poor. In the third world, there is no middle class. So, you know, you fall into those categories. And then, of course, you know, there's colorism, but it's so different in Haiti. It's like, if you were lighter skinned, they all knew you had money. You know, if you were dark,
whether you had it or not,
whether you had it or not,
you already have the assumption and the glorification of just having lighter skin.
So, like, my mom, I mentioned, is like fairer skinned than my dad. And my dad, when he first courted my mom, my mom's parents wouldn't even let him in the house because my dad is very, very dark.
Gotcha.
So it was just already assumed, like, he don't got no money. He's not doing nothing. He's some vagabond. Like why are you even interested in this man? But my grandfather owned businesses. He, like, you know what I mean? It's like these kind of things that are just like unnecessary. You learn that it's like, none of this really matters, you know? And then growing up in this country, I experienced so much hate and racism, like so much, because, you know, my parents were striving to be like amongst, you know, 9 times out of 10, I was the only Black girl in my classrooms. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, I was the only Black girl in the group. You know, those type of things, when you're placed in those positions constantly, you know, 2 things can happen. Environments can be created where the difference in you is appreciated, or you're stuck in those environments and you're constantly put down for them.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, Crystal, like, I had a mix of both. You know, like, certain experiences glorified me being exactly who I am and being the only one that's doing it. But then other experiences really tore at the core of me.
What were the experiences that glorified like who you are?
Like, for instance, I remember as a child, my drama teacher, Miss L'Esperance, everybody else used to pick at the way or make fun at the way that I spoke, the depth of my voice. Like, it was always this deep. My teachers used to pick at me about that. But Miss L'Esperance was like, do you know what you could do with a voice like yours? Like, you know, she was like, not only can you do things in the arts, she was like, you can soothe the man. You can really learn how to, like, make people feel comfortable. And she just really taught me, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the way that I sound. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the things that come out of my mouth and how I choose to say them. Like, she just really, and this was in a room where I was like maybe 1 out of 3, like 3 Black kids, and everybody else was, you know, and like, these girls used to like cut my hair and, you know, like poke fun at me. Oh my goodness, Crystal, it was a lot. Like, girls used to try to jump me all the time. And, girl, yes, because I was so very different from what they were used to. And so learning like those kind of like painful experiences, being put on blast in classrooms, you know, because teachers just are thinking that like, oh, she doesn't know. But then I'm like telling you, no, I actually
I
studied.
know.
I know. And graduating in the top 3 of my class, it was like, yeah, y'all thought I couldn't, but I can. You know, so it's just sort of like those kind of moments. It's like, yes, I was like being salutatorian of my class and being able to speak, you know, in front of all my class because I was basically number 3 in the class. So it was just like, yes, I did this. And my parents, yes, they do have huge accents and they do work their butts off, but it's like, this is what they produced. And this is what this country produced. And I am beautiful and I am great and I can do anything that I really put my mind to. You know, it was the same thing with becoming a sommelier. Crystal, every single time I took that test, I was the only one that looked like me. The only one. And at the end, you know, and you can just tell the looks, you know, they ask you questions like, where you from? Where you work? What do you do? Like, why are you even doing this? And I'm like, I study just like you. I love wine just like you. I understand the technical. So I'm here to take this test just like you. Exactly. And they call out your name based upon like where you basically scored. Girl, every single test, I was like amongst the first like 10 to be called. I'm like, I got this. I got this. And everybody else in the room would wear like blue and black suits. I'll bust in there with some color, like, like color. And they're all just looking at you like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, because I'm supposed to be here. And I think that's what I learned. It's like all of this that I've like, I can tell you some stories, all of this, I'm just supposed to be here. And I'm really thankful for it, if anything.
Thankful that you're honoring that you're supposed to be here because damn, like what the hell? Like I never understood I feel like it's based off of fear that you're in a room and you're standing out where people are looking at you like, why do you get to do that?
Right.
Like just fall in line like the rest of us. Why you got to be extra? Why do you have to stand out? And unfortunately, they're missing out. Like you were saying, like they're asking you the questions. That doesn't make you want to be like, hey, we should be friends. Like they're just killing the connection. And I remember when I would see different people, whether it was the kids that wore like the chains and the big shirts and like the punk rock or whatever, and I just got curious. And I remember it was this white guy, my culinary arts class, I don't remember his name. Him and I got really close. And he was like, I wouldn't even think like you would want to be friends with me. Because I'm just this little Black girl being like, oh, dude, like I'm just curious. And how big of a difference could we make if we were just curious, where you don't know everything. So when you see something that is as unique and beautiful and well-rounded and knowledgeable as you are, instead of being fearful, scared, or like, oh fuck, I don't even know what to do with her. Be curious, like, yeah, what's your name?
Some questions. Yeah.
From genuine curiosity and not questioning of your position if you deserve to be there. But there's a different energy.
That's your whole vibe. That's your whole energy. And that's why you and I, you know, spoke the way we when we first met. It's like, that was your vibe. You were just like, wait a minute, who are you? Like, and it was like both you and Divine.
Well, okay. So I wanted to share how we met. I was going to do it in the beginning, and I probably still might, but me and Devon went to ML Steak. It's a newly opened steakhouse in Richmond, Virginia. And luckily, one of my clients had told me about it opening soon. And then a week later, I think the Jackson Ward Collective or Collection, is it Jackson Ward Collection?
I think it's the collection.
Okay, Jackson Ward Collection went live on the Black ribbon cutting. And we're like, oh, it's a good date night. Me and Devon can go. So we went that weekend. And we're just sitting. The vibe is amazing, y'all. Y'all see me post pictures on Instagram. And as we're sitting, Daphnee comes over. And I wanted to ask, what made you come over? Do you do that to everybody? Or
Oh, yes, ma'am. So, you know, as a manager at ML Steak, it's, you know, we have sections. but it's really your responsibility to touch every single table, meaning you have to go up to the tables and talk to them and see how they're doing and, see how their night is going. Like, it's definitely our responsibility to do that. And we all do that. And it's sometimes you get out of your own section, and you go, it's just, sometimes people are looking a certain way and you just have to see if they're okay and things like that. So no, it's definitely part of my job, but it's like, as I was walking towards the back, I was going to the past, like to go and get food. And I was like, wait a minute, who are these people? And so because you hadn't even, you didn't have any, like usually I wait to go up to a table after they've had at least their drinks or an appetizer or something. Yep. You had nothing on your table. Nothing. So that was very out of character for me. So, but I was like, wait a minute, but who are they though? And so I just like went over.
And I'm so glad you did, because it was kind of serendipitous, because him and I were just talking about where we're going to travel, because we're planning on going to California for my birthday, which we already went. It was amazing. I want to move there within 5 years. I'm telling everybody. So just FYI. And on the list, he was like, I still want to go to New Orleans. I still want to do this. And then you had mentioned New Orleans. I was like, wait a minute. Yes, so yes. I just met a woman who came up to us, whose energy is just vibing with us. And you're just like, boom, 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 with knowledge. Just like you say, you're a sommelier. Mm-hmm. First of all, the only reason I know about that, fully knowing about that, is the movie on Netflix, which I wanted to look up the name of it, and I forgot.
I think it's like about a guy. Uncorked or Corked. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think of course I saw it. Yes.
Yes, and then when you said, I was like, oh, now, okay, like I don't drink wine.
6 of us.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But that was just. It was the vibe in ML Steak, and then you being there, your presence, like it just up-leveled it. And I was like, we got to keep this conversation going, because you traveled so many different places. Yeah. And we mentioned Haiti. So what was your journey of travel? What did that look like?
Well, like full disclosure, it really happened because a guy that I was dating, he owned his own securities firm. And so he would spend the majority of the year outside of the country, really. He was maybe like 3 months total in the country, in US, but other than that, he was all over the place. And, we had such a very huge connection. He was such a huge part of my life and still really is. So wherever he was, he was just like, come on, like, yes. I need to see you, so come. So I had the opportunity to go to a lot of different places. And, and my parents growing up, they really definitely believed in travel. So my dad is, he used to be such a very free spirit, and he believed in exposure, the more, and I think that plays a role into who I am with people as well, because I've just been exposed to a lot of different people in a lot of different countries. So it's, between those two men, I would say like that's where a lot of my travel began. And especially when I was like in my 20s, when I was attending Howard University, if I had a break, if I had a weekend, if I could get away missing something, I would just be gone. I would be gone. And it would either be in New York or out of the country, because my older brother attended Cooper Union, which is like this all tuition free school. They only accept like 8 people like per year.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. He's like a little art genius. He's kind of
Where is it located?
It's, where was Cooper Union? In Manhattan. Like it's like, he was like a few steps away from the Trade Center when it all went down. Yeah, that.
Oh,
so
shit.
He was there during that time. Yes, ma'am. So I would spend a lot of time, in New York there. But other than that, like, yeah, it was between my dad and my ex that I definitely got to see a lot of places and go to a lot of places. But, I spent a lot of time in Italy. I love Italy. If, if I could just, but I also think it was the time of my life. I was just so in tune with who I was, and I was so in love with wine, and it was just such a great time to be alive in Italy. But that would be one place that I would definitely, I would just go and live and just be happy if I could afford it.
When did your love of wine begin? Like, how did that happen?
Honestly, it started when I was like really, really young, because, in like the Haitian culture, it's influenced by French so much. because they enslaved us and we still owe them money. And anyway,
Wow.
that's a whole nother topic. But either way, beautiful thing is we were, Haiti is like the first Black nation to free itself. So out of some very bad things, there's always some kind of beauty.
It is.
Yeah, but growing up and eating, wine was like always around. So I remember having my first sip of wine when I was 9 and I liked it, and I was like, all right, cool. And then when I became of legal age, I was already sort of working in restaurants for undergrad for, easy money and stuff like that. And so it was like everywhere around me. You had to know your menu. So, I started drinking even more,
Gotcha.
And then when it became at a point when I started working for Rose's Luxury, Aaron Silverman. He was the 2018 James Beard Award winner. And I think the restaurant was the best new restaurant of 2018 as well.
Wow.
When I worked there. They challenged us. My general manager there was like, we will pay for you to become, sommeliers. If you take the test, you pass it, we pay for it. So we want sommeliers on our floor because our wine list was no joke. I mean, we had wines. I feel like we were one of the first restaurants to like introduce or put orange wine on our menus. And, people were still thinking orange wine was made out of oranges at that time. It was just.
What is orange wine?
Oh, so orange wine is basically based on skin contact. So of a white grape. So, red grapes are red. I mean, red wine is red because of its skin. The color comes from the skin. So orange wine is you're leaving the skin on the grape for a much more longer period of time. So
so what's the transition for the colors of the grapes then?
So basically, oh my goodness. So when it comes down to it, it can be like there's such a range of colors. So it can be, as transparent to as green, murky, almost like an orange green color, when it comes down to, and even like a golden brown almost when it comes down to like a white grape. But orange wine, you can do the skin contact from 3 days all the way up to like months, and sometimes years. And as the more skin contact you get, the more funky, the more drier, the more like almost very bitter cider-like the wine becomes. Almost barnyard, like just funk, but it's so good in my opinion. So Rose's Luxury was one of the first people, one of the first places that was like, we're going to do this and we're going to do it well. So they wanted us to actually know about it. And so when I was given the challenge and I was like, y'all gonna pay the $600 fine? Yes, I will do it. And I passed the first one really easily. And then the second one. And I was just like, man, I got this. So I just ran with it. I ran with it. And, when you love something so much, it's very easy to want to learn about it. It's like a man, or a woman, you want to learn about it. You want to see the ins and outs, understand how it works. And that's just how love of wine means to me, really.
Oh, so beautiful. And you have educated me because I didn't even know that many tests. Didn't know different like orange wine. I'm curious if other listeners have heard of that.
I'm sure. Yeah.
What do you think? Well, I want to go back to the traveling thing because that's the thing that I'm actually very curious about.
Yeah.
Where is one place that you have visited that everybody needs to know about?
Wow. I'm biased in this question. I would have to say Haiti. I don't feel like, I remember coming to this country and seeing the imagery that was shown of Haiti, whenever things got bad, whenever things were going wrong. But then I remember growing up and how like beautiful Haiti was, the beaches, the food, the people, the nightlife. Oh, the nightlife in Haiti will slay. Like, I'm sorry. It's just
create a picture. Like, show me the picture.
So just like imagine like any beautiful island with like the best moon out. The temperature is just right because Haiti is a mountainous region. So, you at night, it gets kind of chill, it gets like that right kind of vibe. fires are burning everywhere. You can go from house to house and eat whatever you want. The streets are filled with people and music and like dancing. The music alone is just it's so sensual. It's so captivating. Like, I just love the whole vibe. Like, I really, really do. And it's the food that I love to eat. It's the drinks that I love to drink. So it's like, and the people. I just feel Haitian people, you would never know that we were poor. You would never know that we were struggling. Like, the faith, the love that you create, with your family and your extended family is so deep, so I would definitely have to, like, Haiti has the longest skyline. People don't know that. It's like, it's so beautiful. It's so dope. And the food alone is amazing. And the beaches take your breath away. And once again, the people, I just have to go back to the people, you'll never be more taken care of. You'll never be more taken care of. Everybody.
What's the scoop? What part of Haiti?
So a lot of people would definitely say, oh, you should definitely visit, Port-au-Prince, which is like the center of it. But Laguan, Pentonville, like southeast of that, west of that, like you could definitely find like a lot of special places, places.
And what would be the flight from Virginia to Haiti?
I've never taken a flight from Virginia to Haiti, but I have, like, from basically like DC. So you can take you can take like Dallas. Like, most of the time I would always go into Florida because my family's there. And then I would, then sort of like fly out from Miami. That's usually always been the stop for me, is like, I go into Florida, but I'm sure there's like direct flights, in there.
And how long would you suggest people to stay?
I would suggest people to stay the amount of time that I tell everyone to stay when they're going out of a country, at least 8 to 10 days, in my opinion. And and if it's further away, if the flight is like 12 hours or more, then you should be spending at least 2 weeks. Like, in my opinion, that's sort of the way. But for Haiti, I think, you could even get it in over a weekend sometimes, but I think, like, to get like
really
the thing, yes. But I think like the full thing, it's like a thing in Florida, like, ships and cruises and stuff, like, go to Haiti like on the week, like Thursday, and then come back on like Sunday night. Like, there's always like these quick things over there.
Thank you for that, because that's like, I ask questions because in my head, Haiti's like far away. It's like, I don't even know where to even start. So when I start getting curious of like, what about the flights? It just eases my anxiety or perception that it's just too difficult.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And I get it. And, it's not like, but it's like I feel like it's like any other country that you kind of go to. The airport's going to be kind of a little crazy, but you do, it's just, I don't know, me, there's few things that kind of, rattle my cage when it comes down to things outside of work. It's like, I'm very, because I believe in balance, and that's why I work. And then when I'm done with work, I'm done with work. Because it's like, I need that balance, and I need to sort of like cut myself off and not be on, the whole time. Like, I don't like being on the majority of my day. I really don't. I like, being able to just chill, have a glass of something, and, like, just be me, and like, just be a little bit, it's heavy in a restaurant. It's heavy. The energy, it's a very emotional ass industry. Emotional, and it's a creative industry, so creatives are very emotional beings. So it's a lot when you're a manager. It's a lot, when you're just it's a lot. So I have to shut off at some point. And so it's little things like, an airport getting crazy, or like it being stinky, or whatever. That's kind of stuff I'm like, dude, like, I don't care. Like, I'm here, but work it just takes so much.
I didn't even think about that with you working, but it makes sense. Like, even if I go all the way back when I used to work at Marshall's and I was a cashier, you're constantly connecting, cashing. It's like, but I wasn't aware of the emotional energy I'm putting out. Like sometimes you have people who are in a rush or trying to hide things from other people because they want to surprise them. Those are my favorite stuff. They're like, can you bring this up? And then but it was so much fun. Before I'm like, speak up, I can't hear you. And I'm like, okay, I got you. Like, so I'm like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
So that was always exciting. But I didn't even think about you going to every single table, having a genuine curiosity to read, and also using your intuitive energy to be like reading the person, but also figuring out, are you assuming? Did you read them right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of, yes.
You know, and when you think about it, people can go anywhere, but they literally chose to come to your place. So the pressure, I think, of people used to always say, like, Daphnee, you take this too seriously. And I'm like, no, y'all, like, seriously. When you talk to people as a server or as a som and you find out they haven't been out of the house with each other because they just had a baby for like 6 months, or they're like, this is their date night and they haven't had it in 3 months. You know, I remember me and my ex, like we would, when I used to see him and I'm like, we're going out to eat, it was just like us, like in clothes. And it's like, it was, those are special times for people. And so it's really, really important that you take care of that. And I believe in curating experiences and being able to like understand where someone is. You know, when I write at the end of the night in my manager's notes that there were no guest complaints and people were happy, and that's what makes me happy, you know. But you know, it makes me cringe when a state goes back, and you know, it's like there's like this little bump that we need to recover from, you know, and that hurts because I care.
And so it's like not even. It's not even like you care too much. You're very professional and what's the word? I can't think of the word. Dedicated.
Yes.
You're really dedicated to that purpose. Like,
you know,
really
passionate about this stuff. Like I'm really,
and it shows.
Yeah, I take it very seriously. You know, it's my life's work when you really think about it. I didn't even go to school for this. I went to school for psychology and occupational therapy. I fell in love with hospitality. I fell in love with how one of my managers told me when I was like really into this, like years ago, he was like, Daphnee, I love how you can just like change somebody's whole persona and day around. I'm like, alcohol does some amazing things, number one, but first I have to get it into your hands. You know, you have to trust me that, you know, because I've been in positions, once again, being who I am and the way that I look, and people are like, oh, could you get me the sommelier? I'm like, I am the sommelier. I got you, homie. Like, you got me right here. Like, whatever questions you have, like, I can find you what you're looking for to drink. You know, I can make you enjoy this whole experience. And having that power, it's kind of a turn on to be able to like do that to someone constantly, you know, and do it well.
Yes. And I would actually say you have been trained to do this, even though those skills are transferable, where you're still dealing with humans
all day long
and how they're showing up.
Yeah. And people lose their minds when they go out to eat. They really do, you know. They really do. They have these expectations, and you know what you're feeling as a human being has to be put to the side, and just, you know, and I think that's the thing. Out of all the things that can go wrong in a day, I do know that the wonderful people that I work with, they do care about what's going on in that building. They do.
Absolutely. Every single person, even our waitress, I don't remember her name, but she was even dope. And just the energy of y'all wanted to be there. And y'all wanted us there with you all. It wasn't like, my shift, you know, I just started, or it's almost time for me to go. It was like, no, we in this together. How you feeling? You good? And the recommendations of the food was, I love food.
Me
so just like,
too.
oh yeah, try that. The cauliflower was good. The crab cakes, oh my gosh. So it makes me happy because I know that is a staple date night place to go, and I can depend on it. Whereas like, some days they kind of off. Some days they on.
And trust me, we've had our off moments. You know, life is just a collection of moments. You know, bounce back. You know, that's the thing about hospitality. You have to recover. You have to find a way to make someone feel good. That's what hospitality means. It's about how you make someone feel. So as long as we have some things in place that can allow us to recover, as long as someone's telling me the truth. And it's amazing how people don't want to tell you the truth. They're like, oh my goodness, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm like, no, I can read your energy. Everything's not fine.
Yes.
Tell me. Just go ahead and tell me. It's not a bad thing. We're willing to, we're trying to get from good to great. So anything that anybody can provide us. And come on now, Crystal, it's a Black thing. Okay. We're owned by a very wonderful Black man. You know, you have all Black managers, our kitchen staff, all Black, our kitchen crew is all like, it's a Black thing. So it's very important that, like, you know, we dot those I's and we cross those T's, because there are haters and they're looking for us to like screw up any kind of way. And I'm just like really excited to be working with the people that I do work for on a continuous basis.
Yeah. And I think the biggest part to add to that, Daphnee, is that each of you recognize the assignment of all of y'all creating that experience. No one is kind of off on their own journey. Y'all are a collective group of people who know what the purpose is. And I feel it and I appreciate that. And even to the guests, they may have never been open and honest before. So I appreciate y'all actually saying, no, give me the real. Like, I want to be better. Because some people will say, I want your feedback, but then they try to cover it up. Like, no, you just didn't do it right. Or you didn't. It's like, well, you asked for my feedback and now you're telling me I'm wrong. Do you want it or not?
Crazy. So
I appreciate you being gentle enough with them to create the space to be like, no, tell me. Because I want to go from good to great. This is not to bash you or to defend what we're doing, because we know what we're trying to create.
Right.
So now we're going to mosey over to the think tank. Are you ready for this?
Right. I'm ready. We're
going to spend like 10 minutes of a coaching session on a topic that you are currently stuck with.
Oh, and you know what, Crystal, when you first sent me the invite for this, I was like, well, what am I stuck with? You know, what is it? But something happened last night, and even talking to you this morning, I feel like it is something that I'm stuck with. And it's the thing about being like comfortable in being around people and, you know, being in the spotlight. It's something that I'm not too comfortable with at all. It actually makes me feel very uncomfortable. And even with like someone's best intentions last night, I found myself being very uncomfortable. You know, it was just like, I don't want to be around people. Like, I don't want to do this. And I get that feeling a lot throughout my life. And it's like, I don't want to feel that way, because 9 times out of 10, you know, this morning when I was just like meditating to myself and, you know, just being thankful and praying, I was like, you know, I do have the potential to broaden my business and my brand, but it's like, if my personality or these flaws sort of like keep me from connecting with people when I feel like I don't have to be connecting, I think that's the thing. Because it's my job to constantly connect. So I kind of feel like, when I'm done with my job, can I just stop trying to connect? But then it's like, I guess I have to always be connecting. So it's like, you know, that's an issue. And I think that that's something that I could definitely stand to be better at.
And you have so much knowledge, so it makes sense that you want to expand on your brand. And exude who you are. And you only have one life. So who the F wants to spend it being uncomfortable? So what does comfort look or feel like for you?
What does comfort look and feel like to me? I would say when I'm most comfortable, I'm just allowed to just observe and just kind of like breathe and take the moment in instead of having to engage. You know, I think my family growing up, it used to be like, Earth to Daphnee, like, where are you? Like, what do you, but I'm there, you know, like I'm there, but it's like, I don't have to be the one that's talking. I don't have to be the one that's on spotlight. And I love it when I'm not on spotlight. And I think I remember telling you when you and Dee were there, it was like, I was like, no, I'm filled with anxiety standing up in front of you talking right now. Like, I'm literally filled with anxiety. Like, I feel uncomfortable, but I have to do this. Like, this is my job and I'm going to do it well. So, and you said it, you like, I can't even tell. that you were uncomfortable. But girl, I was like, every time I go up to a table, like I'm filled with nerves, like I'm filled with anxiety. And if I'm gonna have to be introduced to someone, I'm completely filled with anxiety. And I'm like, why? Because I have to make this connection. So yeah, but I am most comfortable when I don't have to do it. I'm just being quite honest. And I think, you know, being around my family, like they've learned that. So it's just sort of like, I'm very comfortable around them. Like, you know, the last long-term relationship that I had, that was understood. So it was like, there was never any pressure for me. Like I could just sit in the back and he was you know, and so I was just like sitting and it was cool, you know, and he was like, that's just her. Like, it's not anything, because it's like when she needs to talk, she talks. When she wants to do what she needs to, she does it. But most of the time when I'm off, like I'm literally like off. Like I just want to be off. And yeah, and I think that can be a problem. It can be a problem for people. Or it's something that I should do better at. I don't know how to put it, but I know it makes others feel uncomfortable, and then I feel uncomfortable for not feeling comfortable. Like, you know, so it's just like I don't even know how to navigate myself out of that. And that is where I'm stuck. And I can say at 42, it's always been an issue. I never, like, I'm the one at the bar that will be there in the corner, like all the way at the end of the bar with the book and a bottle of wine. And it's like crazy noisy around. But I'm reading and I'm like happy. But the moment someone comes to like approach me, my body temperature rises. I get very uncomfortable. And then I'm like, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. So let me turn on. And then I get frustrated because I'm like, but this was supposed to be my off time, you know? And it's like,
there we go. That's where, okay. Because as you were talking, I'm like, I'm missing something. And then you just popped it right there. So you had already set up yourself in your most comfortable setting of you could be anywhere, but you create this solace, this space, this safe haven for yourself. Mm-hmm. And if someone is not aware that you just created that, how do you let them know you just created that?
Very great point, Crystal. That's a great point. That's a great point.
And your body just rolled.
Yeah.
What was that?
Because I guess I've always sort of preached about having the responsibility of teaching others how to treat me and being very receptive to how someone else wants to be treated. I think it's the natural order of things, whether it's professional or otherwise. Mm-hmm. And I think at that moment, you kind of caught me in my own shit and was like, you're not letting someone know that you've created this space. And this is the time that you've like created for yourself. Yeah. So how are they supposed to react to it? How are they supposed to know? So it's like, yeah, you called me out on my shit. And so that was that body roll.
The energy's being released.
Yes, it's like, okay, I got it. So I didn't do that. And now I know. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to ask. How did you let your partner, like, how did they know that's just Daphnee? How did your family know that's just Daphnee?
Well, with my family, I think it was just, you know, with family, it's sort of like a level of acceptance that kind of just comes, you know, it's sort of like the good, the bad, the ugly. So it's like, this is just the way she is, you know, like my mom stopped saying like, Daphnee, fix your face. It was the constant thing all the time. Like, Daphnee, fix your face. And I'm like, Mom, but there's nothing that I'm feeling. This is just the way like my face is. Like, I can't just go around, you know, like smiling like all the time. This is just the way my face rests. And she was like, find those muscles in your face. Her being a nurse, find the muscles in your face. When you feel like they're low, put them up. And she was just like, and I'm like, okay, I get it. So then I trained myself. Like, I know when my face is like not, you know, so I'm always sort of like, you know, trying. So I don't know. I think
actually you do know, and I'm gonna interrupt you because you actually just gave a great example. You told her,
yeah,
this is just the way my face is.
Yeah.
And
I told her.
And this is like a longer period of time, like you being 42. So obviously time is on your side of having those repetitive interactions where maybe you didn't tell her all the time, but it was ongoing. So we're speaking about now and you reaching out and growing your brand. This is a complete stranger. You get to show up as Daphnee and you get to tell people who the fuck you are and how you would like to be respected, approach, connected, and no one can read your mind. And that's the powerful thing where you get to say, I'm having so much fun reading my book. And I know it's really noisy. Like, that's your energy. You get to be excited to be you. But if you're not excited to be you, that's where the discomfort comes from. And people can feel that. They're like, what the hell is, she seems a little, I don't know what you want me to do. And we all have it. I'm speaking from experience, and that's my journey as well, of speaking my shit of, I used to do this, I don't do that anymore. Okay. I don't like it. And that's what we were talking about earlier before we even started recording. So how can you be excited to be Daphnee going forward after this conversation?
Crystal, that's a huge question. That's a huge question. Wow. I don't know. You're about to make me cry. So I don't know. I don't know how I can be excited to be me intrinsically. It's like the moment you said that, before you honed in on it even, it really hit me. And I think that's something I need to really think about.
And that's the step you can take.
Think. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The think tank is for you, like you pondering on that question. From here on out, it's still action. And now that awareness has been heightened, you're able to figure out, how do I want to express my excitement to be me? And it could come in the form of just thinking that question over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to actually speak words while I'm in the shower. If I'm feeling kind of down, I'm like, yo, I'm working out a lot. I feel a little bit stronger. Looking good. Like, I have to say it out loud, and I just start smiling. Mm-hmm. But before, I would be like, it should just come naturally to me. Like, I don't know why I have to keep doing this. And it's like, I haven't flexed that muscle. Mm-hmm. Flex the muscle of being you. And I know you can do this. You've already started doing it. I mean, you are putting yourself out there for others to get to know you, and they enjoy it. And they like it, and they ask you to have more conversations with them on their podcast.
Just like that.
it had nothing to do with, because you told me you didn't have social media. It was, I wanted to connect more with you because you have so much to give. And I appreciate you giving just a little slither of yourself that evening. And even you telling me it was uncomfortable, I'm okay with the discomfort. Because I appreciate the outcome. And I do think in life, we think things are supposed to be a certain way. And when we think things are supposed to be a certain way, like you feeling discomfort and having the conversation with me and my husband, I'm okay with that because the outcome was dope as fuck. It was. Before, I would have been like, oh, I want her to want to like talk to us though. Mm-hmm. You talk to us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll leave it with this. My therapist was telling me that dialectic thinking, or the duality, where two opposites can be true at the same time. You can be just like uncomfortable having the conversation, and you can still have a dope ass conversation. Both can exist at the same time.
For sure.
You got this.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for you to keep me posted, and you'll see me around. Yeah. And I'll be texting you. Daphnee, thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me, Crystal. This was amazing. Yes. Amazing. Please continue doing this with like anyone that you feel a connection with, because you know, I already knew that I was gonna get something out of this. I just didn't know what it was, you know, especially when you challenge me to really have something to say during the think tank moment. So it was, you know, I was thinking about it since you sent me the email, and I was like, I don't know. And then something happened last night, and I was like, that is my stuff. Like, I've been stuck in this for like a while. And I can't thank you enough for the nugget that you just gave me. And trust and believe, like, it's something, I love a challenge, especially when it's something that can boost me. So I thank you. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being open and honest and having that moment with me, because without it would not have, I'm feeling the emotions, because sometimes I'm in my head too of like, should I keep going? Should I? So thank you for those words of encouragement. We all need it. And I really love this. So thank you so much, Daphnee.
Thank you.